Good evening, everyone. It's Ray here from American Hammers TV, and tonight we have got two amazing special guests. Obviously, the regulars. We've got Steve. I always get this wrong when you're looking at it. Hello.
So, good start.
Good start. Good start. Well done, Tommy. Say hello, Steve.
Hi, how you doing?
I'm good. And obviously, we are 7 days away from Irish Thomas's big day, St. Paddy's Day, the best day of the year, some people say.
Yeah, it would be if it wasn't cancelled. it's off. It's over.
Yeah, it got cancelled, didn't it?
Yeah, all the parades have cancelled because of this coronavirus. So,
oh dear.
Yeah, it'll still be Paddy's Day, but you just won't know it.
Oh, really?
Yeah, no parades for us, I'm afraid.
I hope it doesn't affect us in Liverpool, but I kind of feel it is going to. Just quick housekeeping, guys. Don't forget to go to American Hammers Network website, which is americanhammers.net. There you've got all our radio shows, the social pages. So like us on Facebook, like us on Twitter. You've also got the shop, some amazing bits and pieces on there. So make sure you go there, make Tim really happy and buy loads of stuff for us. So thank you. So how is everyone over the weekend? Steve, how was your views on the games?
Very frustrating, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I think that was a tale of missed chances.
Yeah, especially that 2-on-1. I think that it gets worse every time I see it.
I haven't had the heart to look at it again, to be honest.
Yeah. For me, I really can't think who's more at fault. I really think it's a case of 50-50. It's like Haller should have dropped his run a little bit, but he was running into the box to get the ball. Antonio should have, maybe pushed the ball in front of him. Maybe it might have been too close to the keeper. I don't know. Or he should have looked at where Haller was before he passed it. I don't know. Tommy, what did you think?
I be honest with you, like in the post-game review with Chris, I put most of the blame on Haller for that. I think his run was horrible. So basically, the way I saw it was that now I grant you, Antonio's not blameless. I want to say that first off. You should have a look up. You should always look up before you play the ball. I think Antonio played the ball to where Haller should have been, because when you've got a 2-on-1 like that, David Luiz has to sell out completely. He has to drive towards the 6-yard box and put himself between Leno and Antonio. He has to cut the angle off. He's got no choice. He has to leave Haller. The mistake Haller made was that he went with Luiz. He continued running with Luiz and kept Luiz between himself and Antonio. And I think even if Antonio had looked up, I'm not sure he could have made the pass, because they were so close to the goal line at that point, and David Luiz would have cut the ball out if he'd have tried to put it square, and Leno would have dived on it if he'd tried to put it between them. So while I know the pass looked very, very bad for Antonio, I think he did play the pass to where Haller ought to have been. Haller, as soon as David Luiz sold out and drove towards the 6-yard box, that's when you just stop. That's when you stop and you're in acres of space, no one around you, and then the ball can be squared to you. So there is a little bit of blame on Antonio as regards having a look up. But I think even if he had looked up, I'm not sure he could have put the pass into him at that point. So I mostly blame Haller for not holding his run.
Yeah. Steve, sorry, did you have anything else to add to that?
No. I do you know what? I think I agree with Tommy's summing up there. Maybe Haller should have just checked. But maybe, like Tommy said, if Antonio had actually looked up before he played the ball,
he would have shot.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, if he looked up, he would have realised the pass was no longer on. He maybe just would have drilled the ball towards goal. Maybe gets a goal out of it. And unfortunately, in the end, it just looked really bad.
There was always something that I remember Defoe said in an interview once that he was doing the same similar runs all the time, running into the box, waiting for the ball to be crossed straight through the middle of the keeper and the defender so he can just tap it in. When Ian Wright just grabbed him, stopped him, pulled him by his shirt and just said, stay there. And this was just on the edge. And then the ball got passed to him and he just knocked it in even easier, because every time they were crossing the ball, the goalkeeper or the defender were getting the interference where he held his run and then it slotted to Defoe and Defoe knocked it straight into the goal. And apparently that was one of the best things that Wrighty told Defoe. And a few of these goals he got because of that. So I can understand why Antonio didn't see him there. He thought, all right, he's going to hold his run, experienced striker like that, not just going to be running straight in the box. So, there is that argument.
Yeah, I have to say, I think it was genuinely just a terrible run from Haller to keep driving towards the 6-yard box and to keep David Luiz between him and Antonio was just not smart at all. I can't believe he didn't just peel back and wait for the ball to be played across to him. He's got an open goal if he does that.
I'll go to Steve on this one first. Do you think Antonio and Haller are, I wouldn't say similar, but they make similar runs or in the similar positions? Because I noticed that there was a couple of times where they were both sort of in the facility of heading the ball.
Yeah.
So they weren't on the same wavelength. I don't know. What do you think, Steve?
Yeah, mate. I think there was just maybe just a little. They were just a little off with their communications. Because if you go back to the Southampton game, it's like they were linked telepathically. They were doing everything right together.
Yeah.
So I think probably the Arsenal game, it's probably just one of them things. Each there were so many occasions where one of them was maybe just sort of a yard out or a yard short or a yard too long, or didn't look up, or and there's so many coulda, woulda, shouldas.
Yeah, I actually noticed.
Sorry, Tommy, go on.
Sorry, Steve. Yeah, I did actually notice on a few occasions. I know what you're talking about, Ray. There was a few occasions where the ball was played long up the middle, either by a centre back or by Fabianski, which obviously was a tactic that was working because Antonio and Haller are both so strong in the air, can win those long balls, head the ball on to the other. But what I noticed on a few occasions when that happened was one of them would go up and win the ball, and the other one would literally be right behind him on his heels.
Yeah.
And I think they're both going for the same ball. Whereas they've really got, like you say, to communicate better so that one of them goes and tries to win the ball and flick it on, and the other's got to be looking to make that run in behind to win the flick on. There were a few occasions where the two of them were literally right on each other's heels as one was winning the ball, the other was like right behind him, and the flick on went nowhere. So that's something that definitely, if they're going to continue to play up top together, they've got to figure out, when one is going and when the other is peeling away.
Yeah.
Indeed.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. And that goes on to my next thing is if I just pull out this little article here, a lot of fans are saying that they should drop Antonio and put Bowen and Haller up together. Especially for the Wolves games. What do you think of that?
Yeah, this is something else I had a chat with Chris about on the post-game show after the Arsenal game. No, I didn't say that Antonio should be dropped. I just wanted him switching positions. I said that Antonio should be put back out on the right wing, where he's still very, very effective and works very hard and does a lot of good work out there. But we need a finisher in the centre alongside Haller. We can't afford to be missing chances like Antonio did. He's not a natural finisher. He's not a striker, and he will fluff chances. And we saw that, on Saturday, and it cost us, huge. It cost us 3 points essentially on Saturday because Antonio isn't a good finisher. So I definitely think Antonio should be moved back into the right wing. Get Bowen up top alongside Heller because Bowen will finish those chances. And I don't think we're losing too much. I know Bowen's been playing very well out there, but I think Antonio plays very well out in the right wing as well. And he'll track back and he'll help out Ngakia, and he'll cause havoc going forward as well. And so I would certainly switch positions with them, but I don't think I would drop Antonio. I think he actually is important to the team. I think he brings a lot to the team, and I felt this season we've definitely looked better when Antonio has been in the side. We really missed him, I thought, when he was out injured, and we couldn't wait to get him back. So I wouldn't drop him, but I would switch their positions for sure because we need a finisher in beside Haller, I think.
Yeah. What do you reckon, Steve?
I think it's just a matter of keep trying with the different personnel in the different positions and seeing which ones actually click, and maybe changing it game by game anyway, depending on the opposition. I'm not sure that the 4-4-2 actually suits who we've got up top. I'm wondering if a 4-3-3 would be actually better.
With inside forwards or wingers?
Oh, inside forwards.
Yeah, I kind of feel that as well. They need to. The front three need to be a little bit closer because
they're
not,
they were on again the Southampton game. They were doing that more, and being closer to each other up top more than they were in the Arsenal game.
Yeah, it was very noticeable actually. Bowen didn't have the opportunity to make as many of those really good inside runs in the Arsenal game as he had done against Southampton. So I think there's really a good point there, Steve.
I'm wondering if maybe.
Sorry, continue.
I'm wondering if maybe Moyes had told him to play more midfield than attacking, purely and simply because he was worried about Arsenal coming at us more than he was Southampton.
Yeah, I think they were worried, particularly about Aubameyang coming down that side, as he tends to be on the kind of inside left position a lot. So I think he was probably very wary of that, and maybe told Bowen, look, you're going to have to really help out Ngakia here, because he's going to have Saka, who's a very good youngster coming down that wing, and he's going to have Aubameyang kind of peeling off to that side as well often. So I suspect there's a lot to that, Steve. Yeah.
I mean,
we can't say, and to be honest, we can't say it didn't work.
No.
That we should have scored 3 or 4 goals easy in that game. We should have won that game. I think tactically Moyes got it spot on, to be fair to him.
Yeah, the only thing I would say about Moyes and his tactics would be that I think his substitutions are rubbish. I think they're too late.
I was going mental on Twitter.
I just couldn't believe it.
Substitutions were so late.
Yeah, they're just not like. I think from about the 70th minute, I was like, right, okay, he's got to chuck Anderson on here, isn't he? He's got to make a couple of changes. Noble, bless him, needs I don't know how many minutes Souček could have done that game. So, I give that one a bit of a benefit that it might be the case he could only have done 10 minutes because after that it would have been, a bit risky on the old stuff. So, but definitely it felt like he needed to make at least one change around about the 70, 75 minute.
I think not only that, apart from the fact that they were too late, taking Bowen off was a bizarre decision. I can't understand that at all. That's someone who can get you a goal, and it's not like he would have been tired. He's 22, he's full of energy. He didn't look to me like he was flagging Bowen. So I can't understand why you take Bowen off. If anything, Antonio tends to be the one who starts flagging last 20 minutes. And if he wanted to make a change, bring on someone a Snodgrass on, he could have done it in a much better way. I think he could have hauled Antonio off, because he's always gassed after 70 minutes anyway. move Bowen inside and put Snoddy on the right, where he can deliver some, really good crosses. And so I just can't understand hauling Bowen off, to be honest.
Yeah, I totally agree. Yeah, I don't know why he didn't bring on and Anderson sooner, because I felt like their left back was left or right back. Well, was there to be got.
Yeah, he was. And to bring Anderson on with 4 minutes left was just ridiculous.
Yeah,
he didn't really have any opportunity to do much, but we don't know if he would have done much anyway. He's been really poor this season, but I'm at the end of my tether with Anderson, to be honest. I mean, there was one moment. I mean, Anderson's just come on. He's fresh as a daisy. This is a player you want him to drive and get himself in and around the box. And I remember one moment late in the game where Declan Rice sailed up the field with the ball with a driving run on that kind of inside left channel, and he actually tore past Anderson, who was just off to his left on the wing, who was just jogging nonchalantly up the wing, and there was Rice, who'd been playing all game, absolutely flying past him with the ball, driving forward, and Anderson should have been flying up ahead of him, just looking to get on the end of a pass from him or make an angle for him to pass into him, and there was Rice just sailing past. You'd think Anderson was the one who was gassed after playing for 90 minutes, and Rice had just come on. I've got no time left for him, to be honest.
I noticed in the last when I was putting out some little messages in the background, but I do think Anderson is a grower into a game. He's not like Antonio, where he can be an impact sub. I really do think that. I feel like he needs a game to either grow into or come off. I don't know. What do you reckon, Steve?
Yeah, well, again, this is where we got to rely on Moisey looking at it, working it, getting it right. But then when you're going up against Arsenal, you want people like Antonio on there from the off, don't you?
Yeah.
To go straight at them. So.
Yeah.
I think maybe if he'd brought Anderson on with 25, 30 minutes to go instead of 4 or 5, he might have, like you said, grown into it and made a bit of a better impact on the game. With 4 minutes plus injury time, there was nothing he could do. He barely got warmed up.
Yeah, I always think that as well. And this is a question for Tommy. Do you not think it's hard to motivate yourself for that amount of time when you've only given that amount of time to come on? Because it's not like our bums were against the wall and we was like playing for a 1-1, so people had to be on their guard. I just felt like it was kind of like he didn't have enough time to, it was like, I've just got these 4 minutes, man, and what am I going to do in 4 minutes? I need 10 minutes at least, or 20 minutes at least.
Yeah, Anderson looked like a player who'd come on and thought, "What's the point?"
Yeah,
and just didn't bother. Now there's a case to be made, and we all agree, I think, that it's far too late to be bringing him on. You should have given him more time to potentially have an impact. And we all know that, and I'm sure Anderson felt that way. But you can't play that way. When you come on the pitch, you have to think, okay, not giving me much time to do something here, but your attitude has still got to be right whenever you come on. You can't come on and think, what's the point of bothering here? He's giving me very little time to do anything. And it looked like that's what his attitude was to me. It was just, what's the point? You can't do that. I know it's frustrating to come on that late and you're thinking, Jesus, it's very late to be bringing me on. What do you want from me? But I don't think you can shrug your shoulders at it the way he seemed to be doing. And I mean, if it was, can you imagine if it was Antonio that had come on, and he had, 5-6 minutes to try and, Antonio may still not have been able to impact the game much, but his attitude, he would have been right at it, when he come on. His attitude would have been spot on. And I'm disappointed in Anderson, because I do think you're right, Ray. I do think he felt that way, and he just thought, what's the fucking point? And didn't bother, really.
Yeah. And I totally agree with you, Tommy. For me, Antonio's the kind of player I want to bring on. I either want to bring on a player like Antonio, or I want to bring on one of the kids if it's going to be that last minute piece of play. Unless we're on a back foot and we need to put 10 people behind the ball, for instance, because we're going after a 1-0 win, then, you know, I'd imagine putting someone like a youth player on, or someone that's like Antonio pushing it really hard. Anyway, talking about youth players, and this is a little tedious link for me. A lot of fans, including myself, and I'm sure you guys as well, are praising Ngaka for his latest performance. I think since he's come back in the team, he's been a revelation, and I'm excited for this guy to do well. He did fantastic against Liverpool. He's done fantastic against Arsenal. Manny, who's like a world-class player. Who else did he play up against? Aubameyang, you know, fantastic players. And he doesn't look like he's out of position. He doesn't look like he's he can't handle this kind of performance that he's put in. He's like kicking the balls out, taking no risks. And when I went to watch him at the Olympic Stadium, I could see him doing some little moves and little runs with the ball. It excited me because I thought, oh, I haven't seen this for a while. I do love bringing through the youth through the academy up to the senior squad. It excites me. So this is definitely a player to watch. And I'm excited to see how his career performs. I think this season he's a shoe-in for his place. No one's going to touch him. And it'll be interesting to see what they do next season as a squad with the transfers. I don't know. Steve, what did you think of his performance?
He's great, and he's like a breath of fresh air since he's come in.
Yeah.
If the club can learn from their past mistakes, handle him and develop him properly, more like Declan Rice than we did Reece Oxford, then I think we've got a player in our hands there. And if we can keep him, then I can see him becoming a West Ham favourite.
Yeah, I can see him becoming, like most West Ham players, we love him to start off with, but he's got to perform to the Rice level and push on, really. I don't know.
Yeah.
Tommy, what's your views? How have you seen him?
Yeah, he's been very impressive. Very impressive. When he made his debut, the home game against Liverpool, he played really, really well and impressed me that day. And I think we were all impressed with him on his debut. And I was just very surprised that we didn't see him for so long after that. Didn't really see him again until the Liverpool away. I thought it was a little bit of a surprise to me, to be honest. But since he has come back in, played great away to Liverpool. He doesn't look like a kid who's just starting his professional career in the first team. He looks like he's been playing there for 4 or 5 seasons. He's kind of maturity to him, that's really impressive. And apart from just his ability, he doesn't look phased by any of it. So, really impressive. And hopefully he'll be consistent because he's been really good in all 3 games. And there weren't easy games, particularly away to Liverpool and away to Arsenal, and he was up against, like I say, some very good players, Mane and that Saka, that left back for Arsenal looks mustard, doesn't he? And he put him under a lot of pressure as well, and he stood up to it. Okay, he was stretched at times, but he dealt with it, and he dealt with it well and coped, so he has a really bright future, and I think we have to say now he has to be our first choice right back going forward.
Yeah, definitely. For me, he's definitely got to be the first choice. What also about him is quite like he's dribbling down the side. I know I've already said it, but I really do like that he can handle the ball. I'm sure he knocks it past a couple of people when even when he's playing against, he does well, and you can get up for the games against Arsenal, Liverpool, the big top 6. But the team against Southampton, a lot of players play they don't play as good. Look at Oxford. He played fantastic against Arsenal, and he had a completely rubbish game the following. But here it seems like Ngaki's got his position. He's holding it well, and now it's for him to lose. Really,
Indeed, yeah.
I'm on the fence, and this is a question I want to ask you guys. I don't think we should bring in a right back next season from the transfer. What do you reckon, Steve?
No, not at all. It's his. Give it to him. Keep what's his name, Fredericks, as his backup, and if you don't like that, out him. But yeah, no, it's got to be Ngakia's now, isn't it?
Yeah. What do you reckon, Tommy?
Yeah, it looks Zabaleta's retiring at the end of the season, so that's one gone, and then it's Fredericks. Will certainly, I think, be back up to Ngakia at least at this time. But let's not forget we've also got Ben Johnson, who's just back from injury, who looks a very promising young player as well, who's also a natural right back. So I'd have no problem, even if Fredericks was sold as well. And Moyes said to Ngakia, look, you've got the shirt right now, but Ben Johnson, you're there as well, and you can fight for the shirt too. One of the two of you is going to be right back. It's great to have two youngsters, that are there, both young and talented, that can fight it out for that spot. So I actually agree with you, Ray. I don't think now, which is great, that we need to prioritize right back anymore, because we do have two very young, very promising, talented players there, and one of those will nail that spot down. At the moment, it's Ngakia's shirt to lose, but Ben Johnson is very talented as well. So I think we can, maybe concentrate on finding our left back, unless that's going to be Johnson. Johnson played left back against City on his debut away and actually did very well over there. So whether we could convert Ben Johnson to left back and have two youngsters at full back, I mean, that would be wonderful, wouldn't it?
That would be exciting, wouldn't it?
Yeah. I don't necessarily agree with selling Fredericks, but because I do believe we need the three at the right back, especially with having two youth players. Maybe, Frederick is kind of a bit of a senior player now.
That's fine.
Yeah, I think
you wouldn't have to sell him.
No, I think it might be a case that, Fredericks, look at what these guys doing. I feel like you need to step up now. As with Ben Johnson, I like Ben Johnson, don't get me wrong. I think he does well. But there's something about Ngakia and Ben Johnson that's different. I feel like Ngakia can play with the ball better and run with it. Well, I think Ben Johnson's a bit more stocky, if you know what I mean. He's a bit more built. So I don't see him being that pacey winger down the lines going forward. I don't know. That's just my opinion. I probably need a bit more of him to go forward with that. I'm sure Tim would be excited if we do get rid of Fredericks, though.
Indeed.
Yeah. Tim would love that, yeah. Well, look, I think Fredericks is a championship level player, to be honest. I don't think he's up to it really at Premier League level. It's not that he's a disaster at Premier League level or anything. I'm not saying he's a bad player, but I just don't think he's good enough for what we need, really. So at best, he would be a backup for us, I think.
Yeah, I totally agree with that, Tommy. I think you're right. He is good as a backup. He probably is a top. I would say definitely a top championship team that is on the cusp of coming up. But I do like to have him as a backup to right back because, what does that give us? That gives us more money to spend for better players in other positions for next season.
Indeed. Yep, I agree.
That's another question because we're going to need it because I don't think we're not going to have a whole pile of money. So if that's the right back position sorted, and I think it is, then obviously that's a huge bonus. You can funnel whatever money you were planning on spending there into the other positions.
Just hold on to that, Tommy. Well, let's talk about that a bit more later in the show. So I do want to go into more detail of what we need to buy transfer windows side. But our youth players did play tonight. The under 23s finished 3-3, and then West Ham won on penalties, I believe. Also, which is exciting, is Yarmolenko was playing in this match today against at Derby. As you can see, number 7 there, Sanchez. Have we missed Sanchez? Anyone?
Sorry, who?
No.
I think that's probably the best place for Sanchez to play.
Yeah, I think we found his level.
Yeah, I don't mean that disrespectfully, even though it does come across that. Because of his age and stuff like that, I feel like he could be a good someone for other people to learn off of. He can be that anchor.
Yeah, you can teach them all how not to play football.
Oh dear, I can't even. So yeah, Duncan, if you've got any ideas on other players, thanks for that information about Yarmolenko and Sanchez, both poor. Brilliant.
I believe Anang saved a penalty, didn't he, to win it for us in the shootout? He saved the final penalty.
Didn't he save 2?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I found this article that
we went down to 10 men as well, didn't we?
Did we? I don't know. I've not watched the game, so I don't know. But
yeah, I didn't see the game either.
Yeah, what do you think? Do you think Yarmolenko is going to get back in the team now, or is he going to be a bit part player for the rest of the season and being sold on?
Yeah, I don't see him being a regular starter anymore. Particularly, look, Bowen has nailed down that right wing slot now. So I don't see him being played ahead of Bowen over there. I'm just wondering, perhaps, he could also play up top if required. If Antonio were to get injured, it wouldn't surprise me one bit if Moyes had him in the pecking order ahead of someone like Ajeti to play up top with Haller. He doesn't seem to like Ajeti. He's not even on the bench these days. So if he's to get back in the team, it could be potentially to go up top with Haller. If Antonio were to get injured, or perhaps he would move Bowen into the centre and play Yarmolenko on the right. So there's a possibility he could still play, but I think it would require an injury or two, for him to get back into the starting 11. But he's certainly worth his place on the bench, I think. He has enough about him, that he can cause problems to opponents. He does like to get a shot off, cut inside, get a shot off. And I still think he's a decent player and worth a squad place.
Yeah, I agree with Tony. As long as he comes back healthy and up for it, unlike Lanzini seems to have done. Because there's one that I wouldn't mind seeing going. But Yarmolenko, I'd be inclined to keep him.
Sorry, did you say you wanted to get rid of Steve?
Lanzini.
Oh, okay. Well, for me, it's a no-brainer. Keep Yarmolenko in the squad for the rest of the season, but I feel like we might have to let him go next season. What's this? Lewis was sent off on the 65-minute. Silva was good. Was come off for Yarmolenko and was right handful. Well, that's exciting information. So, again, we have to remember.
Maybe another promising one. Yeah.
Yeah, we have to remember that they're not in the top flight of the Football League for the under-23s as well. So,
Indeed.
Yeah, a club like us and our youth academy, we should be flying through that. And it's a shame we got relegated in the first place. I would actually get rid of Yarmolenko in the summer, and that's 2 reasons. Why? Because he's been injured quite a bit, and because we've got Dean Garner coming back, and I see Dean Garner and Bowen fighting it out for that position next season. How do you feel about Dean Garner coming back, Tommy?
Hopefully he'll come back a better player. I thought when he came in first into the first team at West Ham, he looked very, very promising. He was very lively, causing problems to opponents. It looked like we have a real player in our hands. But I thought he kind of fizzled out a bit over time. I thought his form started to wane a bit. And I was a little bit worried about that. I was wondering, okay, is he going to be consistent? Is he going to be able to perform most games at least? I thought he looked inconsistent to me. So I think going to West Brom for a season probably has done him the world of good. It'll certainly turn him into a man. You know, it's a tough league down there in the Championship, and you know, he'll have grown in confidence. He'll have grown physically, you know, and mentally toughened up. So I think we'll have a better Diangana back at West Ham next season. No, that's assuming Moyes wants him back. You know, I mean, I think if West Brom get promoted, there's absolutely no doubt they'll test the waters. You know, they will make a bid for him. You know, and it just depends on how much they bid and whether Moyes thinks, you know what, I can use that money for a target that I want here, that I'm looking to bring in. But don't be surprised if Moyes accepts a bid from West Brom in the summer for him. That wouldn't surprise me in the least. But I think if he does come back to West Ham, yeah, I think he would be ahead of Yarmolenko in the pecking order at that point.
Yeah, do you reckon they will? How much do you reckon they will sell him for? Do you reckon a cheeky 10 million quid would get him?
Yeah.
I don't know if 10 would do it, but I think we could get between 12 and 15. I think that's where the bid would be from West Brom if they get promoted. If they get promoted, they will spend. And I think 12 to 15 is somewhere where they would kind of price him. It just depends on if Moyes is keen on him or not. I don't think, like I said earlier, we'll have a huge amount of money to spend in the transfer kitty. So Moyes may see the sale of Diangana to West Brom as a way to boost that transfer kitty to bring in the players he does want. So it'll be interesting to see what Moyes thinks. Now, look, Moyes might really rate Diangana. I might just want him back at the club. I don't know. I'm just putting it out there. But you would certainly think if West Brom get promoted that they will test the waters on that one.
Yeah. What do you reckon, Steve?
Tommy makes a good point. Because if we haven't played with him all season, Moisey will think, I haven't had him, so I'm not going to miss him. And then maybe if our right back situation is looking so good, then maybe he can use that money on a decent left back. But I would like to see him come back, and then if he did come back, I would certainly entertain offers for Yarmolenko.
Yeah, and if Moyes is looking at the Red Bull model, you know, I feel like he needs to get rid of some of them older, more experienced players, like the players like Yarmolenko.
Yeah.
Yeah, even Antonio getting to that certain age, he's gonna to bring down the age of the group that we've got. You know, would we get rid of Noble? Still need that leader in the room. Would we get rid of Cresswell? Quite like how Cresswell's done so far. So I would like to see either someone to challenge him a bit, as doing at the moment. What is, Steve, we'll start asking you, what is your main targets position-wise that you think we need to fill next season?
So one, isn't it? Yeah, probably centre defence.
Yeah, I've been saying
it depends who he sells. Like if he sells Rice, then we're going to need. God, how are we going to bloody replace him? We're not, are we? But yeah, I personally, I would look at left back, central defence, and possibly centre mid, because we're top heavy at the moment up top. Like we've just discussed, we're all right for right back, centre mid, and central defence probably.
What do you reckon, Tommy? What you would like to fill out next season?
3 positions. Okay, obviously left back is a priority. You know, Cresswell again, I think is average. You know, an average primary, and he's not getting any younger. So, if we go into next season with Cresswell still as our first choice left back, we've really messed up. We need to bring in the future at left back, someone who's going to be our our left back for a good few years. Young, talented, and a modern day left back who can get up and down the pitch and can contribute to our attack as well as defending. So someone like that lad Lewis at Norwich looks a right good prospect. That left back there, he looks really, really good. And Norwich are basically a shoo-in to go down, so he would definitely be looking to get back to the Premier League. So left back, absolute priority. Obviously, we will secure Souček. We have to buy him, basically, contracted to buy him if we stay up. So that's central midfield strength in there, which is good. The other thing is we have to get a proper strike partner for Haller if we're going to continue in this formation where we're going to have someone up alongside him. As much as I love Antonio, he's not a striker. He's not going to finish enough of the chances up there, even though, granted, he does really well like to create chances up there. But he just doesn't finish nearly enough of them, and he's not going to learn to do it now. So if we're going to have someone up top with Haller, we have to have a proper striker partner up there with him who can finish and who can dovetail with him and strike up a proper two up top partnership. So definitely a striker, left back. I think as well, as Steve said, I think probably a centre back would be nice actually, because Ogbona's not getting any younger. So he could start to wane next season. You just don't know. Now look, he might age like a fine wine. Maybe Ogbonna has 2 more very good seasons in him. I don't know, but and I think Diop will be there for a long time. But if we can get another younger centre back in there, because I think Balbuena again is a backup centre back. So yeah, left back, centre back, striker. Obviously, look, we have to sign Souček if we stay up, so that's great. But those 3 I would like to see if I have to pick 3 only.
Yeah. And how much do you reckon Moyes is going to get in the summer for the transfer key? Tommy, what do you reckon?
It's hard to know. I don't think it's going to be much. I think most of it was blown in January, to be completely honest. I think, look, they're going to have to shell out, like I say, for Souček. I'm talking of that we're still a Premier League team, okay?
Yeah.
Obviously, if the worst comes to the worst and we get relegated, obviously that changes everything. But assuming we're still a Premier League team, we're going to have to pay up for Souček. We've already shelled out for Bowen. I think he'll probably be told he has something like 30 million plus sales. It's really? Not going to be big. Yeah, it's not. I don't see how they're going to shell out in the summer. I don't think the money's there. So I don't think he's going to have much to play with. So he's going to have to get inventive. He's going to have to really think about the youngsters that he's got there. He's going to have to bring a couple more of them through, I think. He's lucked out with Ngakia. He's going to solve his right back problem. But look, even if the transfer kitty isn't huge, he can still, there's still some value players there that can be sold. And there are a couple of very, very good youngsters that we've got on the books as well that can come through. And so, if he targets a couple of positions to strengthen with, proper money sold, maybe spend 25, 30 million each on 2 players, he could get away with that probably. And then bring in a couple of more youngsters, and we'd probably be all right.
No place for Hugo for you?
I wouldn't have thought so. I think Hugo is one of the players who'd be looking to get a few quid for. Is Hugo still worth a Hugo? I don't know.
I think it's worth half.
Yeah, probably.
Because he's a championship player, so we get a few million for him. But David Moyes will see that as another kitty booster, I think.
Do you know what I think might determine how much we get for the transfer budget as well? Would be how these protests are going, how they develop, and how they finish off the season. Because they're gathering pace, and it may be that like last time, Sullivan throws a wobbly and thinks, shit, I better throw some more money at it. And perhaps this coronavirus coming in and the potential that the end of the Premier League has to be played behind closed doors, which means no more protests, will then do Sullivan a favour. Oh, for fuck's sake! When did that happen?
I saw this tonight. This is what going to be my next thing that I was going to bring up to you guys. But since you were starting talking about the coronavirus, you know, let's.
Yeah. So if this happens, then Sullivan's just going to give Moyes 27 pence and a luncheon voucher for his transfer budget, isn't he?
Yeah, I saw this. I retweeted a post about this on Twitter a few hours ago. Well, Wolves have asked UEFA to postpone their game in Greece on Thursday. Now, whether they'll get any law from UEFA remains to be seen. I'm not aware of UEFA being on the cusp of cancelling all the Europa League games this week. So they're saying there it faces postponement, but I don't know how close it is to being postponed. So unless you have more information than I do, but my understanding is that Wolves have actually asked to have it postponed. If it's just Wolves that have asked it and all the other games are going ahead, that's not going to happen. They're going to be told to play the game. So I don't know, because I'm not aware that this came actually from UEFA or not, but I don't think so.
Yeah, it's going to be kind of weird seeing the end of this season with all this potential viruses going on and how it's going to affect the Premiership games. You know, look at Italy; they're completely on a close down. All games being played behind closed doors. Is that still? Does it still going to get televised, or is it just? Do we know?
Who knows?
Look, people have been calling for it. That if games are played behind closed doors and nobody can go to the games or anything, they're asking for broadcasters to free view the games. People like Sky, including 3:00 games and stuff. So I don't know. There's probably a lot of messy contractual stuff involved with that. So I'm not sure if that would happen or not. But like you say, everything's just kind of up in the air at the moment. Nobody really knows what's going to happen. I was just thinking today, can you imagine being a Liverpool fan? Your team's winning the league for the first time in 30 years, and they'll win the league at Anfield with absolutely nobody there to see it.
It would be funny.
Oh, mate, that'd be fantastic.
Well, as you guys...
they wouldn't even get to have a parade, I imagine.
Well,
no open top bus, no parade.
Well, I was just about to say, as you guys know, I currently live in Liverpool and work in Liverpool at Curry Ugly, so come see me. And the parade has been cancelled. There's been a big hoo-ha. A lot of people do understand it because, lots of big gathering places are being cut left, right, and centre. A load of festivals throughout the summer are going to be shut because they won't be able to host them. It's really weird and eerie. It's one of them things that it's going to affect us for a good 6 months now, if not a little bit longer. So it'd be interesting to see what happens, during the European. Is it Europeans this summer? It's Europeans this summer. Right?
Euros, yeah.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see if that still goes ahead or whether that gets cancelled. It'll be interesting to see if it starts at the beginning of next season. As you said, will teams be able to play in Europe? Because, are the teams going to be allowed to fly out from Italy to play in the Champions League? I don't know.
I'm kind of optimistic, to be honest. I think in the next few weeks it'll actually kind of fizzle out. You've seen these before. These viruses have kind of had this little. They look like they're going to kind of take off and go mad, and then they just fizzle out. It's starting to fizzle out in China already. So that they're having very few new cases.
But that's because everyone's on lockdown, isn't it? And
their measures are so draconian in China.
Yeah, and what I have seen is that if they start letting people out again, they're gonna have a next wave of people getting the virus. So that'd be quite interesting. that could affect the world, really. You never know.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's not airborne, is it? So
No.
the non-airborne ones do tend to fizzle out, so it's harder for them to spread. And once people have cottoned onto it and start taking the right precautionary measures, then it tends to be difficult for these things to keep spreading. So
yeah, but this is people we're talking about here, Tommy.
Yeah, I know, but
stupidest people on the planet.
Yeah, true enough, but I tend not to kind of panic about these kind of viruses when they show up. But more often, 9 times out of 10, they'll just fizzle out, before too long.
I hope it does. I've got a bloody flight to the USA booked already for May. So
a few weeks' time.
That's a hint as well to San Diego Hammers. I need somewhere to come for the United and the Villa game, please. If you're watching, hit me up.
Oh, brilliant. Yeah, there we go. Well, I hope it doesn't affect Paddy's Day next week, because that's one of my favourite days of the year, to be fair. So, because I live in Liverpool as well, we get all the Irish come over, which is kind of worried they're not actually going to travel, and they have a ball. They have a party. They have a piss up. The town goes crazy. So, I hope you fly over, Tommy. Come and join the party.
In Liverpool? Yeah. Don't think I'll be able to make it as much as I'd love to. No, I know there's a huge history there with the Irish on the docks and stuff, going back a long way. So, I can imagine it would be absolutely mental over there Paddy's weekend, but actually not even the weekend this time. But yeah, unfortunately, I'm not even sure if I'm working or not yet. I haven't found out yet if we're going to be working or not on Paddy's Day. So we shall see. But yeah, maybe one day, it won't be this year, but maybe next year, I'll arrive into Coyote Ugly dressed as a leprechaun and asking for my old buddy Ray.
I would love that. So, Steve, I think we're pretty much done for now. I don't think there's anything else that we need to discuss. Have you got anything you want to add?
I think we should just maybe mention the potential trip to Atlanta.
Oh, well,
yes.
Tim, do you want to jump in and join us and talk about it? Since you're there in the chat, I don't know. I know brief details. I don't know the full extent. I don't know about any of you guys. Do you know the full extent, Steve? I'm guessing you do.
Well, apparently, Tim and Nikki from West Ham Fan TV have sorted out an arrangement where there's going to be a get-together between the two channels. They've picked Atlanta because it's quite central for the East Coast. Obviously, for being able to see a 3 o'clock game.
What date is it? Do you know the date? So has that not been confirmed yet? It's
not been confirmed yet. I think they're looking at the weekend of the 18th to the 20th of September, maybe. They've got a venue worked out to host the game, big screen TVs and things. And then I do believe on the Sunday there is a football match being arranged between American Hammers and West Ham Fan TV.
Oh,
yeah.
Unfortunately, if it's in September, I might not be able to come because that's when Freshers is, and that's one of the busiest time of the year. So I might have to stay home because of gutting.
No, you got to get someone in to cover you.
Yeah, I'll try that. Tommy, anything you like to
add? No, not really. I think we covered. We're pretty much up to date now. I think obviously all just looking forward to the Wolves game now, and hopefully another good performance. Hopefully they play their game in Greece on Thursday night, because I predicted us for a win actually on Sunday, and partly because they'd be playing Thursday night in Greece and then they'd have to fly back to London. They'd probably stay in London. and then play us on the Sunday, I thought they probably wouldn't be at their best. They'd probably be off the pace a little bit. But if that game doesn't happen, then I think that might change things. That makes it that bit more difficult for us to get a win. So it'll be interesting to see. But I'm still positive. We'll beat them, I think, if they play Thursday night in Greece. But if they don't have to play that game, then it's going to be a much tougher game for us, I think.
I do remember.
Godfather's in the room.
I do remember someone saying, "You'll never see me without my cap. I'll never wear my hat." And look at it, join us without his hat. Oh, there we go. Evening, Tim. How are we doing?
What's up, boys?
Have you got a coronavirus?
No, thanks. I don't buy into that. But anyway, I want to talk briefly about Atlanta. So it's a definite. We're going to do it in September. We still waiting to hear back from the venue about which weekend we're actually going to do it. So it's either going to be the 11th to the 13th of September, or it's going to be the 18th, 20th of September this year. It's going to be a 3-day extravaganza. And we're going to have 2 ex-players there. On the day that there's not the match, we're actually going to have a match with the West Ham players actually being team captains. With some of the American Hammers TV guys and some of the West Ham Fan TV guys that are there. And maybe Graham Hollett, if he wants to kick the ball around too, from knees up Mother Brown, he'll be there. And then we're going to, offer, people an opportunity to play with them. So that'll be cool on the day off. We're going to have tons of prizes, giveaways, and all that other good stuff, raffles, etc. But it's going to be a 3-day event. So that Friday night, we're going to have an event. And then pregame event, and then Saturday it's either, depending on the schedule. The schedule doesn't come out till June, so I will have a better idea of what's up with that. But I know it's definitely going to be in Atlanta, and we're going to have pre-sales coming up in the next few weeks. We just got to hammer out the details with the venues, because we might do one venue all 3 days. We might do 3 different venues. Who knows? We're just trying to work that out right now. But it's a go, and Nikki is definitely going to go from West Ham Fan TV, and possibly either Dan or Scott, because obviously some people have to stay back and do fan camps, whereas whoever comes over with Nikki, they'll be doing fan cams at the event. That'll be fucking awesome. So, Tommy, you coming?
Hopefully. I'll definitely try and get to that. Yeah, that sounds absolutely brilliant. Yeah, I'd love to be there.
It's going to be insane.
Yeah, we need West Ham to fucking stay up, though. I mean, if it's a championship game, it's going to make life awkward, isn't it, for you to get live coverage over there?
No. Listen, we know people. We got streams. It's all good. That's what our Discord's for. We got streams. It's all good. We'll have the match. But no, we're staying up. Don't worry about it. We're gonna stay up. So I just want to say that real quick, and everybody enjoy the rest of the show. I gotta go, but
before you go, what's your predictions for Saturday?
2-2.
2-2.
Yeah, because I'm not allowed.
Sunday.
Sunday.
Yeah.
I'm not allowed to pick us to win anymore. So
No, Tim's not allowed to do that anymore.
Yeah.
He's just fucking Jonah.
Yeah. So I have to say draw. In the matches, I think we'll probably win. So, all right, guys, enjoy the rest of the show. It was great, and everybody in the chat room, I'll see you back in there momentarily.
It's good as well. Villa are absolutely fucked, Tim. Don't you agree? So now it's Norwich and Villa. I think are both now shoo-ins to go.
Tim, don't go. I want to talk to you about. Oh, actually, we're going to do a show about the bottom 3 in it, so I'll hold it there.
We are doing a show about that. Yeah, we got to. But listen, fucking Rainer.
Totally wrong. You're totally wrong, and I disagree with you.
Norwich is staying up. Villa's staying up. Brighton, Bournemouth, and Villa. Yeah, Villa's going down. So Brighton, Bournemouth, and Villa going down.
Yeah.
I don't agree.
We'll analyze that when we go through the remaining schedules and so on. But
back. So we're the bottom 3 show. Maybe we'll do it next week.
Norwich is too good to go down, man. They play well. They play better than any of the fucking teams in the bottom 5.
Yeah, they're going to have a late run, Norwich. They're going
to spoil it.
They don't win any games. That's the problem.
That's our problem too. But I don't know. We'll see. All right.
Okay, we'll sort out bottom 3 predictions. So,
All right. Have a good night, guys. Great
take care,
show.
Tom. Bye,
right, later.
Tim.
That's
So, Tom, what's your predictions
for Sunday, you mean, is it, or relegation?
for Sunday? Not for relegation. Hopefully, you'll win.
Fuck it. If Wolves play in Greece on Thursday night, we will beat them 2-1. If they don't have to play that game, it will be 2-2.
You cop out.
I have to cover myself because I don't know if they're playing Thursday night or not now.
Steve, what do you think?
If they do play in Greece, then they're going to put out a below strength team against us. So I think we'll probably batter them. It'll be another 3-1, I think. But if they don't play and they put out a full strength team, it'll be a hard fought game, and I think there'll be one goal in it either way. Like maybe a 2-1 or a 1-0.
I do agree. I feel we'll win. I can't see how we're not going to win this one. We played too well. I think the atmosphere around a grand. I think the confidence of the guys have got so much more better. So I can see us definitely getting a win. I don't see us getting a draw. I don't see us getting a lose. I see us winning. Come on, you Lions. We're going to win it. And Jared, how's about that?
Yeah, Wolves weren't great against. Yeah, Wolves were not great against Brighton the weekend. You know, they didn't look too good.
No, and they've had a good season there as well. To be fair to them,
you'd imagine it's starting to catch up with them a bit now. You know.
Yeah, and they've done fantastic. You know, fair play to Wolves. Well done. I can see us getting a good win, and I think we need it. I think we need that good win to get. I don't see us going down now. I've seen too much for us not to go down. If you're saying that. So, Steve, did we get your predictions? Yeah, we did. Anyway, yes. I don't think there's anything else. So, just one last thing to say, guys, and that's come on, you Irons. Thank you very much.
Come on,
I'll talk to you guys after. Come on, you Irons. Take care, guys. Bye bye.